Oh, snap. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. My name's Patrick. Kim, thank you for that. If you like true crime, I'm live every single night, y'all. So hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Hit the follow button on TikTok. Hit the subscribe or the follow button on X. We're on X. We're on Rumble. We're on all the things. So welcome in, everybody. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about.
You what?
We sure do. Idaho 4. Let's start off strong. Idaho 4, a theory. This is True Crime Design. She did this video talking about remember we listened to one of these theories that she had about like the informants and the rug informants and all that stuff. Y'all, it was pretty damn interesting. I'm not gonna lie. And I hadn't heard of a lot of it. So let's go. Let's check. We're going to check into that first. So YouTube, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, do all the things. TikTok, let's get 25,000 likes. And thank you for the little, whatever that thing is, some kind of postcard. Let's hit the goals on TikTok, y'all, so that they will actually spread the word about the live stream and the videos and everything else, y'all. Do me a favor, hit the goals. Hit the follow button, do all the things. All right, let's go. I'm shrinking myself down on YouTube, and we're going to get this started.
Starts right here in the Seattle-Tacoma area of Washington.
Oh,
They're
hell.
then trafficked down the I-90 corridor all the way across to the city of Spokane, Washington, where another group of the Aryan family known as the Aryan Knights of Idaho take over
what of who?
How dare you?
the operations. They then use human mules from the city of Coeur d'Alene to drive the drugs.
Oh, hell. And they're talking about that it could be Miss Kernodle, the mom.
Down Highway 95 and into Moscow, Idaho to their distributor. They then distribute the drugs to the local dealers.
The rugs, TikTok overlords. We love the rugs.
Then the dealers.
Yeah, these are the Koberger alleged victims.
Peddle the drugs.
Rugs.
To the youth at the colleges in Moscow and Pimp.
Oh, hell.
In my last couple presentations, I made the case for why I support Pavarotti's theory that the confidential informant in the investigation of the drug trafficking trio, the Fetty Bros, is in fact Kara Kernodle, which is not a speculation I make lightly. In fact, it's a notion I've spent many hours vetting and attempting to debunk through court records and public information. But the more I uncovered, the stronger this theory got. And I challenge anyone, especially content creators, who think this notion is far-fetched, to present receipts to the contrary before attacking the likelihood of this theory based on your own subjective opinion. It's clear that this theory in particular triggers some people, and I'm all for disagreements and debate, but you gotta produce facts if you want to discredit this information. So I want to be clear. Yes, some of these connections remain speculative, but they come from an informed perspective and are based on factual research, not opinions, not feelings. This case is a complex web that is slowly being untangled through extensive, dedicated, and collaborative research, and I'm honored to be a part of that.
Oh, hell.
Speaking of, this video is
Christina, you took the words right out of my mouth.
a continuation of my own presentation of Pavarotti's information, and I will also feature the work of a couple other awesome content creators that I have learned information from. I will, of course, give proper credit where it's due. So I encourage you to go check out those channels.
And y'all, True Crime Design, make sure you follow her. Make sure you go subscribe to her. She's pinned down in the description.
And support those creators who are really doing the heavy lifting here. So with all that said, let's deep dive into some of these new relevant connections and their alleged affiliation to the King Road residents. Starting with an individual known as Tyson Farley, who has been identified in the media as a local meth trafficker. He is 40.
Math. TikTok, it's math. He traffics algebra, trigonometry, geometry, calculus, all the maths.
6 years old and seems to have lived in Moscow.
Y'all get it, right? Because we have to say the TikTok language like we're not all adults, grown adults.
Idaho his entire life.
Don't get me started on that.
And one of the main reason folks are linking his name to these murders, besides the drug connection, comes from the Linda Lane surveillance video, where the name Farley is very clearly uttered not once, not twice, but 3 separate times. And credit for this discovery goes to the wonderful Bubbly Waters, who I would say is the undisputed expert of the Linda Lane security footage. I highly doubt anyone else has spent more time listening and watching this footage, so shout out to Bubbly Waters. This snippet of footage is from 1:32 a.m., and I'll go ahead and play that for you.
Stella, thank you. Mary, thank you. Yeah, I definitely hear something say Farley. Yeah, I see you, Farley. Yeah, I can hear that. Lori, thank you. Stella, thank you. Mary, thank you. Oh, we hit it.
Continuing on with some connections of Farley to the King Road residence, this next piece of information comes from my girl, Veritas Equitas, who identified the fact that Farley works, or I would say worked, for Germer Construction, according to Facebook. This is the same company that was hired by Scott Green and the university to demolish the King Road house. Veritas writes that the premature
that is pretty weird.
Demolition of the Idaho 4 crime scene was nothing short of suspicious. U of I President Scott Green made the decision to demolish and later bury the 1122 King Road crime scene despite
they buried it too?
Pleas from the Gonsalves and Kernodle families to leave it standing until a trial has commenced. He was so graciously gifted the house from Dan Esty of 1122 King LLC.
That's pretty crazy. Oh, by the way, TikTok, if you guys want to see this video or find out the it's True Crime by Design on YouTube, but come over to the Mystery Project on YouTube and you can see all of the like the link to everything is right there. So y'all come on over. Come on over. The Mystery Project on YouTube. I'll see you guys over there. Come on, we're live right now.
Who removed himself as the agent from the LLC within just a month of the atrocities on November 13th.
Oh, hell.
Veritas produced these screenshots showing Larry Germer, the CEO of Germer Construction, associated with Tyson Farley on Facebook, and also pictured with Jason Eck, the U of I football coach. Once again, it seems that everyone associated with the university is in bed together with the common goal of covering up this atrocity.
Literally, they buried it. I didn't know that. Did y'all know that? Thumbs up if you knew that. I knew they tore it down. I didn't know they buried it.
Tanya Rhodes is a longtime associate of Tyson Farley. She is 54 years old and is from Moscow, Idaho. According to Facebook, they have been in a relationship since October of 2000. So Farley and Rhodes are longtime
October of 2000
associates, if not lovers.
Holy hell.
Now enter
24 years ago.
51-year-old Michael Burrows, an individual with a very extensive criminal history who has spent a long time in the penitentiary. He was arrested on felony drug trafficking charges with Tanya Rhodes in March of 2024, and he owns property in Coeur d'Alene and Julietta, Idaho. Julietta is south.
It's going crazy over there. Sorry, y'all.
Of Coeur d'Alene, north of Moscow, and that's where the two were arrested in March of 2024. The case began when a probation officer and a Latah County Sheriff's deputy conducted a residence check on the two at their apparently shared home on Main Street in Julietta. According to court documents, authorities allegedly found 1.5 pounds of meth, along with cocaine, pills.
Oh, man, that's a whole lot of math and a whole lot of Coca-Cola. Math and Coca-Cola. Man, they must have had a study party going on right there. All that Coca-Cola and all that math going on.
And drug
paraphernalia.
They were arrested on a $100,000 bond, and Michael
Thanks for the follow.
Burrows was able to post this as a property bond.
Map
Whoa.
right here. We still got the victims. What is their connection to TF and TR? Well, TF and TR connected to MB, originally known as M. Ketchka. Now, what is his connection up here to the families in Coeur d'Alene? Now, we know that he grew up in Coeur d'Alene. People who live in Coeur d'Alene probably know this guy because he seems to be pretty famous. And is he a good candidate for being a ranking member of the Aryan Knights? Because, I mean, let's face it, these guys, they come up with pounds and pounds. They don't seem like,
you what?
They're affluent individuals to have, tens of thousands of dollars worth of narcotics. So that would assume that they have that connection coming from Seattle and Spokane. So I would assume that based on his violent history and the time spent in the penitentiary and the fact that he's got pounds and pounds of narcotics, I'm going to say he's the Aryan Knight connection.
Oh, hell.
Once you get to Coeur d'Alene, because he owns a house there and he owns a house down in Julietta. Not bad for a career criminal.
So just to recap, we have these three individuals who are connected to each other, Burrows and Rhodes as co-defendants in a actively pending case, and Rhodes and Farley, who are longtime associates and lovers, who were also arrested together, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh, hell.
But what's the connection to King Road? And this was brilliantly uncovered by Pavarotti, once again, the channel J. Embry. And that
JMB Pavarotti ID4.
is the fact that Burrows and Maddie's stepmom, Corey Hatrock, were neighbors for 17 years.
Oh, hell. What? That's crazy.
Able to confirm that Corey Hatrock lived at this address on East Boyd Avenue in Coeur d'Alene from 1998 until 2019, according to public records. This address is several hundred feet, a 3-minute walk or a 1-minute drive to the house on North 16th Street that Michael Burrows has owned since 2002. So you're not going to tell me that these two who lived a couple blocks apart and were both into methamphetamine didn't know each other despite living a couple hundred feet apart for 17 years.
I mean, that's pretty crazy.
I made this visual to show you the sort of chain of command when it comes to these drug trafficking.
Oh, rugs, man, they traffic a lot of rugs, a lot of high traffic rugs being trafficked. You know what I'm saying? Lemon Ray, good to see you. Y'all, come over to YouTube if you want to see this.
Operations. As I've said before, the cartels work with gangs to distribute these drugs. And it's a very organized system with the cartels at the top, the main two being the Sinaloa cartel and the Jalisco New Generation cartel. As we've covered with the Fetty Bros, who I would classify as importers, these are people who go directly to the source in Mexico or Arizona and are involved in that process of actually importing the drugs. I place the Aryan family here as well because of their associates in Arizona, but they are actually a prison gang in Washington with about 200 members.
Dear Lord.
And Jesse James Bailey has been
on YouTube. It's The Mystery Project, y'all. The Mystery Project should be pinned on the screen.
Identified as the leader. As for the distributors, I put the three individuals we talked about before, Farley, Rhodes, and Burrows, as distributors because of the amount of drugs they were caught with each time they were arrested. We're talking pounds here, not.
I know, one big old area rug, man, that could weigh 10, 15 pounds maybe. That's a big old rug.
28 grams like Kara and Corey were caught with. I also placed the Aryan Knights here. The Aryan Knights are a prison gang that primarily operate in Idaho. And while they are a separate gang from the Aryan family, they do work together to distribute drugs. But the Aryan Knights really take over when it comes to Idaho. And beneath the distributors, I have the dealers and drug mules. These are lower level dealers with criminal records associated with possession, usually under 28 grams. Of course, we have Emma and Demetrius, who are the known dealers in Moscow and Pullman. And then below them, of course, we have the users, who are UI and WSU students, especially Greek life members. And these are the people who are buying the drugs.
Rugs.
directly from the dealers. And you can see how it moves down the chain. So I hope you find that helpful in sort of visualizing how this operation runs. So those are the connections in a nutshell. Now I want to kind of place these events and individuals into a timeline leading up to the massacre. August 31st, 2022, we have the alleged distributors Farley and Rhodes arrested in Moscow with a pound of meth.
Math. A pound of math homework? Man, you crazy as hell. YouTube, it's the Mystery Project, Lauren. Almost the Mystery Project. Stella, thank you.
And once again, very
those ghosts, y'all.
Serious trafficking and possession charges. Once again, Idaho does not play when it comes to the sentencing statutes on these charges.
Whoa.
Farley was given a $75,000 bond. About a week after their arrest, both Kernodle and Hat Rock are pleading guilty in the time period of September 7th through September 13th.
Whoa.
And once again, Farley and Rhodes are connected to Miss Corey Hat Rock through at least what we can identify is Michael Burrows, as they were neighbors for 17 years. But here's where things get interesting. Tyson Farley was granted furlough by Judge Megan Marshall, who is the original judge in the Koberger case.
Oh, that's crazy. I remember her.
Apparently, Farley was released on furlough so he could visit a family member who was deathly ill, but he never returned to jail and missed his next few status conferences. So Megan Marshall
Man, it was like, F this S, I'm out.
releases Farley on his own recognizance on September 23rd of 2022. Surprise, surprise, he failed to return to jail, and on October 5th, a warrant for his arrest was issued.
Oh, hell.
So Tyson Farley is out running the streets thanks to Judge Megan Marshall. Heading into November of 2022, as we've established, the Fetty Bros were sentenced in Spokane to decades in federal prison on November 2nd. A few days later is Corey Hat Rock's sentencing, and once again, she did accept a plea agreement. Less than a week later, of course, is the tragic King Road massacre on November 13th.
Whoa. Amy, thank you.
On November 19th, Kara Kernodle caught 2 more felony possession charges, and she was arrested in Coeur d'Alene on November 21st, just 8 days after her daughter's murder.
Oh my gosh.
But we do know that Kara was in Spokane at the time of the murders from an interview she did with Crime Sleuthin', and I'll insert that right here.
I mean, I don't know if he's kept with that or not. I don't speak to him much, but he was the one that told me about it. He came and found me in Spokane, and before it hit the news and everything, and that's what he told me personally, was that he spoke with her, and that they were at the party, and that there was that altercation, and
Whoa.
she was fine. She was at home. She was fine.
2 days after Kara's arrest, Tyson Farley is arrested in Spokane on November 23rd, based on that bench warrant out of Latah County.
Oh, yeah, they got him.
He was extradited on December 1st.
That with his charges transferred back to Latah County, something strange is going to start happening with TF. Because this is a case that if he contested it, should have carried on for a long period of time. And you would think he would have to contest it, because if he was convicted on trafficking like he's charged with, he would get a minimum 10 years in prison, possibly life. That is the statute by the legislature in Idaho. So
Wow.
What happened from December 2nd until December 19th? Well, we know that a lot of things all of a sudden heated up in the investigation of Brian Koberger.
Oh, yeah, they got him. They went and found him.
All of a sudden, out of nowhere, they're filing warrants for DoorDash. They're filing warrants for Amazon. They go to Brent Kopacka and they unalive him. And then all of a sudden, Brian Koberger's name is injected into the investigation, and then a reverse investigation into him in every possible way starts.
So now it's mid-December. Tyson Farley is in Latah
Tracy Sloan Bella's YouTube channel. I'm going to check that out. Thank you.
County custody.
Yo, hit me with those ghosts, too. Come on, TikTok. We got to appease the TikTok overlords. Hit me with a little ghost action. Hit that follow button too if you're new here. My name's Patrick. And come over to YouTube so you can see the video with us. Just search The Mystery Project on YouTube. You'll find it. Come on in. But hit that follow button, y'all.
Possibly talking to prosecutors about what he knows went down on King Road on the night of November 13th. And you'll see why in a minute this is quite plausible. On December 20th of 2022, Tyson Farley pleads guilty to those trafficking charges. It's also interesting to note that Tyson Farley's public defender was none other than Kathy Mabbitt, the county coroner who responded to the King Road residents and notably stated that toxicology will not be relevant in this case. 3 months after Farley changes his plea, on March 6th of 2023, Judge releases him from custody and sentences him to 3 years of felony probation, dismissing counts 1 and 3 against him. He would go on to violate his probation, but the fact that he was just given probation for these serious charges is a huge red flag and suggests that he traded some important information to secure this plea deal. Moreover, the way the prosecution has conducted itself in the courtroom suggests that an informant put them onto Kohberger. This is why they failed to identify what put them onto Kohberger's trail in the first place.
Oh, that's true. Remember, it was all very like, well, how did this happen? Oh, familiar genealogy DNA. What?
Was it the Elantra?
Empress, thanks for the ghost.
Was it the DNA? I assert no. It was another criminal who was locked up in custody during the time of the investigation and may have actually been involved in the murders at the scene of the crime as the Linda Lane footage places him. Now, I actually do believe that Kohberger and Kopacka together were lured to the King Road neighborhood, likely with the prospect of purchasing drugs.
Rugs, TikTok overlords, rugs.
But in my opinion, the perpetrators set them up as intended patsies. It's likely they were in contact with Emma Bailey, who, yes, set them up to be framed for this crime. Tyson Farley does his job by pointing investigators in the direction of Kohberger, and he also scores a pretty sweet plea deal out of it. This is supported by a January 2023 filing by the state that says, quote, to the extent that information exists regarding an informant who is not going to be produced as a witness, including recordings or written statements of an informant or that identity of an informant, such information is not subject to disclosure, and the state asserts informant privilege under ICR 16G2 and prays for appropriate protective orders pursuant to ICR 16.1 as necessary. Translated to, yeah, we did use an informant to lead us to the defendant, but we're not going to...
Oh, hell. Tracy, thank you. Jen, okay, dumb question. Just mean BK didn't do it. No, they're trying to say that this is a theory of how it could have happened based on like the fact that their parents, all of the girls' parents, were either arrested, did time with, charged with something when it comes to rug trafficking. Every one of them is what this lady is saying. Every single one of them. And I'm like, what? And so basically this is saying that maybe they lured Brian to the house because they said that he did a lot of math homework, right? Math problems, or he had done it in the past or something like that. But it is, I mean, who knows? Let's see. Let's keep going. But that is the theory that they're saying. Yeah.
Produce that informant as a witness, so it's none of the defense's business as to the identity of that informant. Now, if the informant is a career criminal who had quite a bit to gain from this disclosure and may have even been at the scene of the crime as captured in the Linda Lane footage, of course they won't put him on the witness stand. As for those stated reasons, he is not credible, and Ann Taylor would rip him to shreds. So when you really step back and look at the players involved, from Megan Marshall being the reason that Farley was free during the murders as she let him out on furlough, and she's also the judge that issued the non-dissemination order, which has led to a lot of secrecy and skepticism about the
that was the first judge in the Brian Koberger one when he did his first hearing and everything.
Investigation and the prosecution of the defendant. The fact that this plea deal was
actually one of my first videos on TikTok with the true crime stuff was that hearing when they were reading out the charges, the formal charges. And they're like, do you understand this? Do you understand this? And he was just like, yes.
Secured by John Judge with the participation of his attorney, the coroner, Kathy Mabbitt. You can really start to see how a frame job of this magnitude can actually happen when you have powerful people in a small town with aligned interests and are willing to go to extreme lengths to cover up the rampant drug trafficking in Moscow.
Rugs everywhere, rugs on top of rugs, Persian. I don't even know any other kind of rug.
From the corrupt cops to the university to, yes, even the courtroom officials. They are
oh, hell. TikTok hit me with those little ghosts right there. See it? Let's get it.
All complicit in allowing these drug trafficking operations to become entrenched in their community, preying on the vulnerable and leaving a trail of devastation in its wake.
That was the whole thing? Oh, hell. Yeah, I'll get the other one out, the Bella Sloan one you guys are talking about. I'll check that one out if it does a better job of explaining everything. Okay, y'all, you've been asking me for this for a minute. So I saw, remember Shay Zane? We watched her quite a few times. She did a video talking about Mica Miller. So let's jump into that, shall we? Come over to YouTube, by the way, TikTok. Hit the follow button if you're new. Tap the screen like crazy. But come over to YouTube, The Mystery Project. Make sure you come subscribe. And we got 22 more ghosts, y'all. Let's get it. Here we go.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Shane. I posted an update video a couple days back. A couple months ago, we were heavily reacting to the new news that was coming regarding the Mica Miller case.
That is correct. And y'all, make sure you give her a subscribe. Shay Zane or Shane. She's down in the description. She's pinned down there. Go find this video. Go find her channel. Subscribe. Do all the things. Let's keep going.
I'm still super interested in finding out more and what we know now and what has changed since the last time we took a look at this case. As usual, I will leave the video I'm reacting to today down in the description, and I highly recommend checking out these original creators and leaving them a little bit of support.
Hey, there you go.
The video I'm reacting to today has a pretty heavy title, and it's a topic that we just started covering again a couple months ago when we were talking about this case. I haven't watched this video yet. I wanted to react to it with you guys. And also, if you have any more information about this case, please leave it down in the comments, as I'm super interested in hearing more.
Hello all. Before we start,
oh hell, let's get it. Did she redo her hair? I don't know. It does look a little bit different, doesn't it?
I just want to warn everyone that today's subject matter is dark and may be triggering for some listeners.
Oh
also,
hell.
Throughout the video, you will hear cuts from JP's neighbor's 911 call.
I thought it was important to leave her disclaimer in there, so we'll continue with today's video, and I have no idea what we're about to hear.
Human trafficking is defined by the U.S. Department of State as crimes whereby traffickers exploit and profit at the expense of adults or children by compelling them to perform labor or engage in commercial.
What? Oh hell, TikTok overlords, y'all better calm down on this one.
Again, that's why I left a disclaimer in here. Heavy topic, but I want to see how it ties into this case.
This is Wright County Dispatch. Can I help you?
Sure, I was talking to a lady. She sent me you.
Okay.
What I'm calling for, we're in the neighborhood of Cascade. This is where that preacher guy, which everybody knows he's crazy here, and his wife apparently.
Oh yeah, this is the neighbor. Remember the neighbor said he saw people coming in and out of JP's house or whatever?
Which we know she didn't shoot herself.
Quote, the range of activities involved when a trafficker uses force, fraud, or coercion to compel another person to engage in a commercial sector or causes a child to engage in a commercial.
I know the last time we watched something, or at least I did, where Regina Ward was covering Mica's case in her estate and working with her sisters. They were talking about passing Mica's law, which I don't even know the state of at the moment. That's why I want to get updated and on the same page as everybody. But it basically covered the act of coercion. Although J.P. Miller may not have pulled the trigger, did he cause her cause of death regardless?
Hi, I'm Detective Joseph Scaramucci with the McLennan County Sheriff's Office. I've worked hundreds of trafficking cases over the past 6 years, and I want to share with you what I've learned about traffickers and buyers. First, we have to...
Oh, hell. Stacy, it's the Mystery Project. Is it pinned up there, y'all? It should be on the screen. Does it say the Mystery Project on YouTube up here?
Understand that human trafficking, like all industries generating profit, is about supply and demand. We know that the supply side of human trafficking is the victims, the people who are used and exploited. The demand side is the buyers, the people who are seeking to pay for the services provided.
Is it there now, y'all? Can you see it?
By victims.
I mean, we can do a whole series on this topic, but I'm just kind of letting this play to give you guys a little bit of background information. Just gives you a little bit of context into what we might be looking at further into this case.
And the person in the middle is the trafficker. The trafficker is a person who, through force, fraud, or coercion, is providing the victim to the buyer. So who are these sex traffickers? In sex trafficking, a trafficker...
Oh, hell, Hex, Rex. It's T-Rexes. TikTok overlords.
May be better known as a pimp. Now
Sorry, y'all. I hate that I have to do that, but if you say words that TikTok doesn't like, they get mad as hell at you.
Take a minute and think about what comes to mind when you think of the word pimp.
Oh, my God. Pimple.
You what?
Not a damn pimple. Oh, hell. That's what we got to say, y'all. Entertainment, educational purposes only. He's talking about pimples.
And take a second and answer his rhetorical question. What automatically comes to my mind, and I'm sure many of you, if I can speculate accurately, is you imagine typically a male. There can be female pimps as well, but
pimples
that they would have typically a handful of girls, definitely 1, 2, usually strung out on something because they need something from their pimp. They're getting supplied with something, drugs, or maybe
green-eyed, not really.
maybe alcohol or some other substances, or even possibly
it is nice to see, but usually not really.
A place to live, a place to rest their head at night, and in return this pimp will sort of send out his
supply
girls to...
Come on, be appropriate.
To clients.
What do you think this is? A platform where we have free speech and we can say whatever we want because we're adults?
How dare you?
Hell no, they gotta censor everything.
To then bring back some money. That's what comes to my mind. Let's hear what he has to say.
Based on music and movies, you probably have a pretty distinct image of what comes to mind. But as someone who has encountered and arrested a lot of pimps over the years,
pimples,
I have to tell you,
this guy's all about blackheads.
Most don't look like this. These stories remind us that traffickers come in many forms. They could be from the United States, or they could be from another country. They could be family members or partners of the victims, or total strangers.
I was always told as a kid, obviously don't go into somebody's car. I wonder if it's more common with trafficking for it to be strangers. I say that
you do have to be in a car to be in traffic, TikTok overlords.
Because I was always kind of told.
See what I have to do? See what I do for you guys? I have to come up with these crazy analogies.
Told as a kid that the people that might hurt you are probably people that you know. So that's why I'm wondering how much of
that's terrifying too.
This is strangers. Are these traffickers trying to get close to potential victims, or are they just sort of scoping out and waiting for opportunity?
Can be male or female. They could be individuals, part of an organized group, or gangs. Another group guilty of human trafficking is recruiters. A recruiter is used by a trafficker to find potential victims.
Oh, hell.
These recruiters often seek out vulnerabilities that make a person easier to manipulate. Things like low self-esteem, history of abuse, running away from home, or unsupervised internet access increase a young person's vulnerability. Recruiters
Oh, hell. Unsupervised internet access.
look for their victims in places where youth are often unsupervised.
A bunch of Filipino girls are already, I don't know if what's going on in there, but the neighbor also saw him beating one of those girls.
Oh, hell. This is crazy. Kimberly, thank you so much. So many ghosts. Thank you.
Up. Not too long ago, he can be, tell them the police about it. The mail lady just went down there and she said there's always different young Oriental girls in that house, and then they're now.
So that, I'm assuming is the Oriental girl that they're talking about in that voicemail?
I guess I don't know what he's going. I know they're doing an investigation of her death because she had just filed for divorce and all, and we all know her from running and everything, and she ended up dead. But I think somebody might want to go by that house and see what's going on, because it don't look good for this neighborhood. And her mom's out here, there's older people out here in this neighborhood. Something's going on.
So that voicemail is just confirming that there was suspicion within the neighbors.
Y'all might want to check.
Yep, big time. Stella, Kimberly, thank you. Let's get it.
Because there's something going on. They got like sheets all over the windows, and don't look right in this neighborhood.
They have what all over the window?
Like I said,
Oh, sheets.
it look like they got sheets put over it now since all this. And we did see him fly in there and then fly out of there because he almost hit us in his blue truck and he took off. That was on Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently sneaked in there and leave. But those Orientals in there.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember hearing that.
And like I said, I think that was her house.
JP Miller, I believe, had a couple of cars, but I don't recall it being a blue pickup truck.
Shane! That was the big one. That was his truck, his Ford truck. That's the one they saw everywhere.
But you heard about it. There's everything going on with the, wasn't it Rock Church, Solid Rock Church?
Okay.
And it's the Miller, JP Miller, and like you say, she filed for divorce. 2 days later, she's dead. So there's something going on in there. It's been going on a while. Like I said, the neighbor saw one of them, the boy, because he's real crazy, beating the girl on the back. But I don't know.
Dear Lord.
He called police.
I'm sorry. The neighbor just said he didn't use names, but he just said somebody witnessed a boy beating a girl in the back.
Whoa.
And nobody called police.
Said that she committed suicide. But all the people got Facebook. They know he killed. You know how that goes. He blew it all the time. He really did. He's a crazy guy. He involved the young kids and young girls, and of course the church now is just saying that. Somebody should come and say that longer and she'd be alive today.
I know we talked about speculation of there being trafficking at Solid Rock. Before the end of this video, I want to take a look and see if their website and Facebook page is still down. It was as of about a month ago.
I don't know.
Is their site still down? Probably.
Weapons in there. I know they said the girl shot herself. I don't know if that happened there. Somebody told me that.
Whoa.
Get in Charleston, which don't make sense, but nobody knows. No, I don't know what's going on inside that house or not.
Right.
There's a black car out there. I know they got the windows and all. They'll see when they see the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mica Miller had been last seen driving a black vehicle. I don't know if that's the black vehicle he's referring to in this phone call. I'm assuming this is coming from just a neighbor speaking about the days after Mica Miller's passing. He talked about sheets being hung in the windows, and everybody seems confused on the details. He doesn't know if it happened at the house. Last thing we know, it's alleged that she had shot herself at Lumber River State Park in a completely different state in North Carolina. I think I have a lot of catching up to do. Even the neighbor cackled for a moment. It's almost that tale as old as time.
Small aircrafts are able to use grass runways along the coast.
I wanted to include that small clip about the runways because we know that JP Miller had access to private jets funded through the Solid Rock community, and he had taken off.
Oh, that's right. They were flying all the time.
Off shortly after like the FBI investigation was launched. I did a whole video on it a few months back.
I have no idea, but the post ladies did it always. And she saw them in a while ago. So they came to the door and got some packages she delivered. She knows there's always something. And the other man that used to be there, there's always something shady going in there with that boy and everything. But yeah, they're young.
I'm so sorry for laughing, but even the
Jennifer, thank you.
post people, the mail carriers are talking about something
April, yeah, we talked about that too.
Suspicious going on. Typically, I don't have people wondering what's going on at my house. Oh, okay. The rest of the video has copyrighted music, so I can't play the rest. Again, I highly recommend going to check it out.
Oh, hell.
This just heavily focuses on the human trafficking aspect, but I really need to
Marcus, thanks for the pumpkin. Appreciate it, y'all.
look further into what is going on with the Solid Rock community. I don't know why I just closed that. Solid Rock Ministries, South Carolina. Okay. I have to be careful because sometimes a different church pulls up altogether. I remember the logo being some sort of orange, and I'm not seeing it pop up right away. So the website may still be down. Are they still posting to their YouTube channel?
Oh, hell.
Solid Rock. Oh my gosh, I might have to go back in my own video and look up what they changed their channel name to. It used to be Solid Rock Ministries or something like that, but they changed it, and now I can't recall what it was.
What did they change it to? You guys remember?
Why I'm gonna do a little bit of diving off camera, see if I can't find their YouTube channel again. For now, I'm just gonna jump onto Facebook and see if they have a Facebook page still running. I don't know. Let's see if this is it. Okay, I am not seeing that either. So it looks like their social media still isn't really up and running. You know what I'm literally going to do? I just want to know if there's something major that happened that I'm missing. So before I let you guys go for today, unless you already left me.
Wasn't it something about left in the water?
I'm going to do a little more digging because I'm only seeing stuff from like 3 months.
I remember seeing that.
Months ago. There's an interview.
I don't know if that was ever confirmed, but I did remember seeing that. Left in the water, leave it in the water, yeah.
Here. I don't know if I saw.
Howdy. My name's Curtis. I'm a proud United States Marine.
Hi, Curtis. I don't know if I saw this
Who the heck's Curtis?
interview yet. It's only 8 minutes long.
It's always Curtis.
That might be worth reacting to. It's immediately starting right outside Solid Rock. This video will also be linked down below if you want to see the whole thing. For weeks since the death of Mica Miller, protesters have lined up outside Myrtle Beach area church.
Oh, that's right. Agatha May would know for sure. We haven't reacted to much Agatha May lately.
These were all the protests.
I have great peace about between me, God, and my wife is that I was the best husband I could possibly be, and if I were to do it over again, I don't think I could have done any better. And so because of that, in the midst of all this war and chaos, I have great peace in that area.
Okay, so he thinks
Yeah, but you crazy as hell for saying
he was
that.
a good husband. Okay, perfect. Mica's family has declined recent requests for interviews by the Sun News. I wonder if at this point they're just, in response to J.P. Miller's claims, Regina Ward, the Francis family's attorney, said, this is John Paul spinning his web. Mica was mentally healthy until she got snared in his web, July 15th, 2024. And that was a comment.
Whoa.
A comment
Yeah, this is Mica Miller.
made by Mica's family that she wasn't on medication or even sought mental health help until after she was married to JP. And remember that JP was actually her second.
Man, if I had to listen to JP talk at all, ever, I would seek mental health help as well. Even just the amount that we've had to listen to covering this case, a few months back, I feel like I need to talk to somebody about it.
Husband.
Because it was crazy as hell. Remember that? Oh, hell. I'd almost forgotten about it till I just did it.
The following is J.P. Miller's account of his wife's mental... Good Lord. The following is John Paul Miller's account of his wife's mental health illness, mental illness that he says led to her death.
I've been asked first why I spoke that Sunday morning, why I would get up and preach after my wife passed away the night before or the day before. And I don't know if anyone has ever taken any psychology classes that could help me understand exactly what I should have done. You know, you spend 7 years trying to keep somebody alive.
That's right. Thank you. Let's get it, y'all. Come on.
With medicine, and their family convinces them to stop taking the medicine, and so then you spend 3 months every single day for 3 months doing whatever you can to keep her alive, whether it's going to family, friends, her pastor, her counselor, policemen, judges, doctors. I did everything I could, lawyers, whatever I could to get her medicine and help her take it. And she would not take her medicine because her family didn't want her to. And so in that moment when I got the phone call, it was late Saturday night, I felt like the world's biggest failure. My life is, as I knew it was over completely, and my worst
hell. Desiree Randa, thank you. Stella, thank you.
Fear had come upon me. And 10 hours later, I was supposed to preach, and I didn't know what the right thing to do was. I didn't know if I stay at home, I might kill myself. If I sit at home by
dear God, JP,
myself, I might be depressed. If I go off with a friend,
I'm gonna cut this. We've saw this interview before. I remember actually reacting to it. So you're telling me that that's the most recent update? Oh, no. Let me know if you guys know anything further down in the comments. I wanted to just be able to kind of update myself and see where we were at in this case. And it seems like we're at a standstill. Oh boy. Okay. I don't want to let this case go because it really, again, it just doesn't sit right. Let me know what you guys think down below. I will come back with another video if I have more updates or more interesting information.
Oh, hell. Man, it's true though. It does kind of feel like what's moving in that case, you know? What's happening there? Oh my goodness. Okay, let's continue on, shall we? Let's continue on, shall we? Oh, Crossroads in the house. What you guys doing? What lady we reacted to? The first one was True Crime by Design. That lady was Shay Zonay. And if you come over to the YouTube channel, The Mystery Project on YouTube, you will find the all the channels that we watch and all the videos that we watch pinned down in the description. So now let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about some other stuff. This one is one of Trump's lawyers talking to the reporters, some reporters for one of his little cases. So let's give it a go, y'all. What the hell's happening here? Nelly, let's go. Here we go. We going.
Case is about free speech, but the special counsel says Trump could have disagreed with the results and talked about it. No crime there. The difference is what he did to try and switch the votes.
So what is it?
Oh, this is the Georgia one, huh?
That he did to try and switch the votes that you refer to by bringing cases, by using the law in an appropriate manner, unlike what we're sitting here today seeing. This is not appropriate. What President Trump did is he said, go patriotically and peacefully and protest. That is an American right. That is why we are America and we are not a third world country. Although I will say that today, I don't feel very much like we are in America. Hi, how are you all?
Oh, hell. Oh, that was the intro.
The fact that I am standing here for the third time in 5 months is not a coincidence. This is the Biden political lawfare that we have seen time and time again. It is a deflection from everything that they have done. And if you don't believe me, look at the facts. On March 17th, Hunter accidentally admits that it was his laptop from hell. The next day, DA Alvin Bragg indicts President Trump. June 8th, an FBI document is released showing that the Ukrainians paid the Biden crime family millions and millions of dollars. The next day, the Mar-a-Lago raid and the Mar-a-Lago indictment. Last week, Hunter Biden's sweetheart plea deal fell through when the judge realized it had blanket immunity. The following day, a superseding indictment against Donald Trump. July 31st, Devin Archer goes to testify in front of the House. That was only after they failed to put him in jail prior to the fact. What happens the next day? The January 6th indictment that we're here for today. This is not a coincidence. This is election interference at its finest against the leading candidate right now for president, for either party. President Trump is under siege in a way that we have never seen before. President Trump and his legal team and everyone on his team will continue to fight, not for him, but for the American people. I'll take some questions.
Thank you. I know
the
president has called this a witch hunt. You just laid out several examples of that. Any other thoughts that the president has communicated to you in terms of why this is going on and then why he calls it a witch hunt?
I think a witch hunt is really the way that anybody should describe this, because it's not something we've seen in our time. This is not even political. This is beyond that. A witch hunt is when you relentlessly attack your opponent, when you relentlessly attack the thing that you are most afraid of. People are afraid of somebody that cannot be bought by Washington. People are afraid of somebody who is independently wealthy and who has given up his good life to fight for this country. And that frightens a lot of politicians who are career politicians, unfortunately, because he'll get back there, and I know he'll be fighting for every one of us so that this doesn't happen to us.
Case is about free speech, but the special counsel says Trump could have disagreed with the results and talked about it. No crime there. The difference is what he did to try and switch the votes.
So what is it that he did to try and switch the votes that you refer to? By bringing cases, by using the law in an appropriate manner, unlike what we're sitting here today seeing. This is not appropriate. What President Trump did is he said, go patriotically and peacefully and protest. That is an American right. That is why we are America and we are not a third world country. Although I will say that today, I don't feel very much like we are in America. Yes.
The case should go forward before or after the 2024 presidential election?
I think that every court needs to look at this as a whole, right? It's not about the January 6th case. It's about the fact that in the matter of a couple months, we have seen them try and tie up, and me as an attorney, I've never seen this, tie up one individual who's running a campaign in a campaign, running for office for president, so that he is in court, in deposition, and distracted so that he won't properly run for 2024. And frankly, it's not going to work.
Is the legal team going to argue that the election was stolen?
I don't think that that's the argument that needs to be made. I think that anybody that believes that is misreading this. The truth is, as an American, there were questions that he had regarding the election integrity. We've seen documents come out. We've seen documentaries come out showing that there were issues with the election. And frankly, by bringing this, I don't think Jack Smith really thought it through. There only has to be proof that, number one, President Trump believed that this election was not completely honest. And number two, Jack Smith has opened himself up to a can of worms that we can now look at and really examine.
You believe that he's innocent and that this is all a setup. Why not bring it to trial as soon as possible before the election so that you can clear his name?
Yeah, I would love to do that, but there's something called discovery. And when somebody wants to say that the 2020 election was perfect and that President Trump has no right to object to it, we've got to go show him all the facts. And there's a lot of facts to show. So everybody has their time. And to say that Donald Trump should then be rushed and not be given the same fair proceeding that anybody else is just, frankly, un-American. It's not fair. It's not the way our system works.
A lot of the lawyers who helped him try to overturn the election are unnamed co-conspirators in the indictment. Jenna Ellis isn't. Why do you think that is?
I'm not going to speak to co-conspirators or anybody else. I represent President Trump.
Let's go one more.
Lena, there are a number of, there's testimony and there's a number of aides that have said that the president was made aware that he lost the election and yet continued to argue that it was stolen from him. How do you reconcile those two things?
Well, I think that everybody was made aware that he lost the election, but that doesn't mean that that was the only advice he was given. As anybody understands what happens in the Oval Office, there are a numerous amount of advisors and politicians and lawyers, not just one or two, that are giving you advice and telling you what they believe is true. So he may not agree with Mike Pence. He may not agree with one of his lawyers, but that doesn't mean that there weren't other people advising him exactly the opposite. And the president has a right, as every one of us do, to listen to several opinions and make their decision.
I remember hearing Hillary Clinton and Stacey Abrams argue their elections were not right. I mean, how and the weaponization of the DOJ didn't happen then.
No, of course not. But if your last name's Trump, it's very different. So Hillary Clinton could have a problem when she lost the election, and we could have a complete liberal meltdown, as we all saw. But when we have dignified disagreements, we take them to court. We say do things patriotically and peacefully. He's to blame for things that he did not himself do. And that's what we're seeing. Frankly, folks, this is not about that. This is about politics. This is about 2024. Period. The end.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, hell.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm not here to hear what he has to say. That was what rang true, loud, and could not have been more honest, coming from the judge who has already predetermined that my client committed fraud before we even walked into this courtroom. I'm not here to hear what he has to say. Then why exactly am I being paid as an attorney, and why exactly are taxpayer dollars being used in this courtroom? The answer is very clear. Because Miss James wants to stand right here like she did this morning and call my client a liar, call the company fraudulent, and make a name for herself. She said this morning that the numbers don't lie, and they won't lie in this case. Well, Miss James, I have a message for you. The numbers didn't lie when you ran for governor, and that's why you dropped out. And the numbers don't lie when President Trump runs for office in 2024. And those numbers are loud and clear. This country is falling apart.
This is from a while back.
And if we don't stop corruption in courtrooms where attorneys are gagged, where attorneys are not allowed to say what they need to say to protect their clients' interests, it doesn't matter what your politics are. Everyone has a right in this country to get up and put a defense. I don't care who you are. You have a right to hire a lawyer who can put objections on the record. You have a right to hire a lawyer who can stand up and say something when they see something wrong. But I was told to sit down today. I was yelled at. And
oh, you thought I was Sal from Impractical Jokers?
Oh, Daddy.
Crazy as hell.
I've had a judge who is unhinged slamming a table. Let me be very clear. I don't tolerate that in my life. I'm not going to tolerate it here. And you know what? You shouldn't either. Because not every American citizen gets a camera and a microphone. And what I'm seeing is such a demise of American judicial system and democracy. Miss James came out this morning and said that she knew
Lori, thank you.
Mr. Trump. And she always calls him Mr. Trump because...
By the way, y'all, TikTok, hit the follow button if you're new here. Come over to YouTube if you want to watch these videos. We got one more after this one.
It kills her that he was the president. But the 45th president of this country, one of the best presidents we've had, has built a great company. It's worth a ton more than that statement of financial condition. And she doesn't know how to get out of it because her politics won't allow her. She calls him a bully. She says he's going to bring out racial slurs. He's going to say things today and taunt her. Well, Miss James, you taunted him. Before you came into office, before you saw one record, one statement of financial condition, you taunted him. You said his administration was too male and too pale. Those are her words. She said that she and Michael Cohen were going to be his biggest nightmare. Well, I have some news for you, Miss James. Michael Cohen folded, lied, and crumbled. Your star witness, along with all the DAs and corrupt AGs, need to be paying attention to what happens when you let us take the stand. When you let my client speak the truth, and the judge can tell me to sit down, and he can try and shorten my client's testimony, but it is loud and clear. They've got nothing. They've got nothing but their politics. She's got nothing but her Soros backing, which we discovered recently. And I am sick and tired of seeing it. Pay attention, America. Pay attention. Because when you're in court one of these days and you don't have a lawyer that has a microphone and you don't have a lawyer that can go on TV and you've got judges gagging them, what are you going to do? We need to fix this country. And we need to stop what is happening in this courtroom. President Trump is worth a lot more, and she wasn't ready for it. She doesn't understand it. And before she rushed to judgment, she should have thought about attacking somebody with over 50 years of real estate expertise who changed single-handedly the skyline of New York City. She picked the wrong person, and her politics will fail for it.
Most now.
I'm concerned by the judge's statement that President Trump's longer answers, that he draws negative inferences from.
So let's be clear about why the judge said that. The judge doesn't like when President Trump explains what actually happened because it's not good for his narrative. This is a judge who clearly has an issue. If you've seen his behavior with me, you've seen his behavior with the president today. He has a clear issue with facts that are not good for the case because he already predetermined, and I want everyone to understand, yes, we do not have a jury. Yes, we do not have a lot of things that we should because they brought it under Section 6312. But this judge decided this case and liability before we walked up those stairs. I didn't have a shot. So right now we're sitting here doing a whole dance, and the only thing they want are facts that are bad for Trump. That's why he's silencing him. That's why he's telling him short answers. And that's why he's clearly enraged. His face is red. He came in hot, and he doesn't know how to handle him.
Oh, hell.
The judge is the one who will decide the penalties.
Thanks for the follow, y'all. Hit me with those little cats.
Answers more concise based on the judge's opinion.
If my client was worried about people's penalties on him, and that's supposed to silence his right to free speech and his right to take a stand and explain, then I wouldn't want to represent him. My client's done nothing wrong. His answer should be full. And if they try and silence him, the record will reflect that, and we'll deal with it on appeal. Yes. Anything else?
Why did the president plead the fifth last year?
So everything is done strategically. I can't get into that.
This one's like 45 seconds.
The truth of the matter
From being over.
is
that Steph Case Files in the house? Oh, hell, you are up late. Damn, y'all, give her a follow.
the fifth was done in an EUO, which is a special proceeding. Once they brought the case, we decided it was better to fight the facts. But frankly, I never thought that she would bring the case because once you see what his actual values are, you see that there's no there. But, you know, she gets a lot of attention from this. You all are sitting out here. She comes out. She calls him a liar. I mean, this is third world stuff. You're not allowed to run before you even know what somebody's company is, before you even know what their financials are, and call someone a liar and call them a fraud and base your politics on this. Miss James would not be the attorney general but for President Trump. Let's be very clear about that. And that might hurt her a little bit, but that's the facts. The facts hurt. That's why she wasn't a good governor. She didn't make governor. She didn't even come close. She used this case as a cover. Numbers don't lie, Miss James, to use her own words. Numbers don't lie. Anything else?
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, hell. Okay. Y'all tell me what you think about all these things. And hold on, this one last video, y'all. This is, the channel's called the Kamala. I can't pronounce her last name. But she's talking about Kamala's town. What was it? No, the CNN interview. That's what it was. She's breaking down the CNN interview. So let's give it a go. You guys have been asking me to talk about this, so let's go. Let's give it a listen.
Well, there was a lot that was done, but there's more to do, Anderson. And I'm pointing out things that need to be done, that haven't been done, but need to be done.
So Kamala Harris did a town hall with CNN, and it went about as you'd expect. Let's talk about it. Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. Yes, Kamala Harris did a town hall with CNN, and the way that it went was the way that things go when you expect them to go certain ways when thinking about the ways they'll go.
What?
And if you
What the hell? Oh, man, this girl's going to be funny. Make sure you follow her, too. She's pinned down in the description, y'all. The Kamala, I think is her name. The Kamala. She's pinned down in the description.
You're thinking, Kamala, what the did you just say? Well, buckle up and add a K to the beginning of that sentence because we're going to go through some of her answers to the many questions that
she said buckle up and add a K
she received on CNN. Let's start off with talking about an issue that's going to be on virtually everybody's mind come November, immigration.
2022, 2023, there were record border crossings. Your administration took hundreds of executive actions. It didn't stem the flow. Numbers kept going up. Finally, in 2024, just in June, 3 weeks before the first presidential debate with Joe Biden, you institute executive actions that had a dramatic impact, really shut down people crossing over. Why didn't your administration do that in 2022, 2023?
First of all, you're exactly right, Anderson. And as of today, we have cut the flow of immigration by over half. In fact, the numbers I saw most recently, illegal immigration.
But if it was that easy with that
finish.
executive action, why not do it in 2022, 2023?
Because we were working with Congress and hoping that actually we could have a long-term fix to the problem instead of a short-term fix.
You couldn't have done one and both at the same time?
Well, here's the thing. We have to understand that ultimately this problem is going to be fixed through congressional action.
What is going on? And seeing Anderson Cooper sort of go after her and grill her is something new, I feel like. I think the temperature is changing when it comes to Kamala Harris. And of course, we all know what she's going to do. She's going to say, look at all the work we've done on this issue. After we, quadrupled the numbers, had record rates of illegal immigration through our southern border, look what we've done. We're now deciding to fix the problem in an election year. And she says, you know what? It's going to take Congress in order to really produce a long-term solution to this. That's interesting because in the first days of your administration with Joe Biden, you rolled over 90 executive actions from the Trump administration that really created the illegal immigration problem that we're...
Christy said, vote Jesus. Oh, that's funny. That is funny as hell. Vote Jesus. Didn't people yell at her thing? They were like, Jesus Lord, and she's like, you shouldn't be here. You're at the wrong rally or whatever. Man, that is crazy as hell.
Currently dealing with. So if it was...
She went to some church and they like prayed for her or like prayed over her or something like that. I was like, what?
Largely being handled with executive action. Why couldn't you have done the same through the course of your administration? These are questions that we have to ask ourselves, and I have a feeling she wanted that immigration problem to be produced here in the United States under her administration, not only so that she could start solving the issue during the final stage of her term, but also because it benefits her and the Democrats to have a bunch of illegal immigrants running around in this country. But we don't need to get into that just yet. We have more clips on immigration.
Is the border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw is about 2%. And then when it came time for him to do a photo op, you know where he did it? In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
But you're agreeing to a bill that would earmark $650 million to continue building.
Valerie, thank you.
Building that wall.
I pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border. Yes, I am. And I'm going to work across the aisle to pass a comprehensive bill that deals with a broken immigration system. I think Jackson's question, part of it was to acknowledge that America has always had migration, but there needs to be a legal process for it.
There is a legal process for it. There has been a legal process for it. You just decided, and your entire administration decided that you are going to ignore the legal process. And interestingly enough, we all know what Kamala does when she gets uncomfortable questions, when she doesn't feel like she's fit to give a valid answer to what she's being asked. She cackles. And normally she's used to these rallies and all these people screaming and there's stuff going on. But when she's in a silent room being grilled by somebody and there's nothing to fill the space, that laugh sounds awfully uncomfortable, doesn't it? It sounds like she's trying to cover up something that she's responsible for. And we all know how Democrats, Kamala Harris being the most progressive among them, felt about Trump's border wall. The border wall was racist. It's xenophobic. It's cutting off America. We're so isolationist. Everybody should be able to go wherever it is they want. That's how they felt about it, and they spoke that openly. Trump asked for $5.7 billion to complete his border wall, and the Democrats shot it down. How many billions did our government spend on immigrants in 2023? $150 billion. You work with those numbers and see what conclusion you come to. And she talks about Trump taking a photo op at Obama's border. I've actually been to the southern border myself, the border of California and Tijuana. I've seen Trump's wall that was stopped from being built, and I've seen the, shall we call it, fencing that existed before.
Tara, thank you. Yo, we're close on the cats. Hit me with a little cat action.
So I'm not exactly sure what Kamala Harris is trying to get to here. On top of that, in her lengthy time as vice president, Kamala Harris said this about not going to the border.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, you know,
Oh, I remember this. By the way, TikTok, hit the follow button if you're new here. My name's Patrick. If you like true crime, we're live every night. It's pretty close to election time, so we're going to do a little bit of the political stuff, but typically true crime. Come on in, y'all. Hit the follow button if you're new here. I'd love to have you part of the family. Tara, thank you for those. And come over to YouTube, and you can actually see these videos if you want to. We're live on YouTube. It's the Mystery Project on YouTube. Come on, y'all.
we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I mean, I don't.
But let's move on.
People have to
Oh, hell, I do remember that.
earn it. And that's the point that I think is the most important point that can be made, which is we need a president who is grounded in common sense and practical outcomes. Like, let's just fix this thing. Let's just fix it. Why is there any ideological perspective on
Rachel? Thank you.
Let's just fix the problem.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I'm not afraid of good ideas where they occur.
You don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything.
Texas tip, thank you.
I just talked about that wall, right? We just talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
Wow, she can't even answer the question as to whether or not she wants a wall. It is so ridiculous. This is peak political theater, and I don't know how we are not all watching this and understanding exactly what's happening. She is literally bobbing and weaving from answering a very simple question as to what should be done here. It is so ridiculous to hear it out loud. She says she's willing to point out a good idea when she sees one, but cannot answer the question as to whether or not she would be willing to build a wall. And it's because they know they've created this issue and they know that Trump had things under control and they cannot say that out loud, because to say something good about Donald Trump is to what? It will fly in the face of your entire campaign. All the work that you've been doing to call him a threat to democracy, to say that he's essentially Hitler, that no longer works if you have to talk about a good idea and an idea that you stopped that created further issues for every American citizen. Oh my goodness. But she refers to Jack.
She hit us with the, oh my goodness. Did you hear the note she hit to? Oh my goodness.
In his question during that 1 minute clip we just watched, let's hear the question from Jackson.
Regarding the rapid increase in the migrant population, how will you ensure that every immigrant is integrated into American society safely?
Oh yeah, this was a great question. This kid basically said, how are you going to make sure that everybody coming in is a decent person that's going to benefit us? And then how are we going to pay for it? Oh, hell.
What benefits and subsidies will you provide them with? And how long will these benefits and subsidies last for an individual?
Morgan, I did. I thought about watching that on here too.
Most importantly, will the American citizens' taxes pay for these benefits and subsidies? And if so, how much money will be allocated?
That's a damn good question.
First of all, it will and it has. Your tax dollars have been funding this to the fullest extent possible, it seems.
Well, thank you, Jackson. Let's start with this. America's immigration system is broken and it needs to be fixed.
Who broke it?
And it's been broken for a long time. And part of what we need to do is always prioritize what we need to do to strengthen our border. I will tell you, I'm the only person in this race among the two choices that voters have. I've personally prosecuted transnational criminal organizations.
Oh my gosh. I think she actually has that sentence tattooed on the palm of her hand. The amount of times that I've heard her say that. She gets asked a question about what she's going to do if she becomes president. I was a prosecutor. As a prosecutor, I worked on this, and no other candidate has done that. Yeah, because Trump wasn't a prosecutor, but Trump had our immigration system pretty much working well, okay? Maybe still a few too many illegal immigrants entering this country, but my goodness, your numbers on top of his, absolutely insane. But she has to point to the fact that I was a prosecutor. Transnational criminal organizations. Every single time without fail.
Oh, hell.
In the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career making sure that our border is secure and that we do not allow criminals in and we don't allow that kind of trafficking to happen and come into our country.
And I abandoned those values as soon as I became vice president.
Damn. I mean, what do y'all think? What do y'all think? Let me know.
And as my opponent has proven himself, he would prefer to run on the problem instead of fix the problem.
Y'all, I can't with Kamala. I cannot. We already know what her record is with immigration. I don't need to relay it to you. We know that she's created this issue. She's going to say that they proposed a bill that Trump had shot down because he told all of our representatives that we cannot fix this problem while she is a part of this administration. And we know that's not the case. That bill was going to be shot down before Trump had anything to do with it or anything to say about it. And we've actually fact-checked that in a previous video. So go check out our video on all of
Y'all wanted a poll. Red Trump, blue Kamala. Is that how you say it? People get mad at me because I'm like, I don't know. I hear it said 400 different ways.
Of Kamala's lies. We're actually going to move on here to another clip where Kamala is asked if she can express a mistake that she's made along the way in her tenure as vice president.
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life, or in your life in the last 4 years that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
Oh, God, this one was tough. This one, I mean, this was tough to listen to this response.
I mean, I've made many mistakes.
Y'all hit that follow button. Come on, TikTok. Do me a favor. Hit that follow button. Keep tapping the screen like crazy. And thank you for the whatever these cat things are. Comment something or others. Thank you. The Reds took that one, y'all.
They range from, if you've ever parented a child, you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
Y'all, I'm having salad for lunch. Word salad.
Word
and I'm
salad.
still starving. Let's think about some mistakes that Kamala Harris might have made. Does the name Laken Riley ring a bell? The nursing student who was killed by an illegal
We definitely talked about that case, y'all.
Immigrant that entered this country under Kamala Harris. Jocelyn Nungary, the 12-year-old that was raped and
we talked about that case as well.
Murdered by illegal migrants. Does that ring a bell to you? Is that maybe a mistake?
Rachel Moore and Gracie. Yep, we definitely talked about that one as well.
That you've made covering up the fact that Joe Biden is senile and clearly suffering from some form of late-stage dementia. Was that a mistake that you made? I guess not, because it landed you in the position of running for president without being voted for in any way, shape, or form. And that's not a mistake either. And the Democrats are just going to allow that to happen. It's essentially a coup, but I guess we don't have to talk about that. Was it a mistake to never really visit the border, at least until the end of your term? Does the name Jamal Truelove ring any bells for you? The man that you put behind
Jackie, thank you.
Bars, knowing damn well that you had evidence that pointed to his innocence.
Oh yeah, that dude. He was on. He got mad at that one dude that interviewed her. I forget what it was. What's that guy's name? The Catch Me Riding Dirty dude. I remember that. And he was mad as hell. He's like, why didn't you ask her about that? Why didn't you ask her about that?
And
I saw videos about that.
His sentencing, you laughed in his face? Was that a mistake? What about Cherie Peoples, another person who you wrongfully put behind bars? What about the thousands of marijuana convictions you have under your belt? Now you're looking to legalize it in the name of doing something for black men. So was that a mistake? What about the fact that you endorsed sex changes for illegal migrants in jail? A sentence that I can't believe is even coming out of my mouth, but one that did come out of yours. Do you regret that? Especially when you consider that one of those inmates was a person responsible for tying a couple to a boat anchor and dropping them in the ocean to drown. What about your...
Oh, we talked about that case too. That was the yacht on Alive. Remember that?
administration's rewrite of Title IX, which allows grown men to be in women's bathrooms, locker rooms, private spaces, and to compete in their sports. Was that a mistake? I could go on with example after example of things that she could have said in response to this question, which would have actually shown a little bit of humility, but she's not capable of doing that. Just like she wasn't capable of criticizing Joe Biden and things that he had done during his term that she would do differently in hers.
If anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
So we all
Man, I saw somebody did a meme where they like had that part, like she just said that part, and then they just cut right to, my name is Donald J. Trump and I approve this message. That would have me in tears, y'all. I'll go through it. I'll just scroll through and like check out the memes, and I'm like, oh hell. I mean, they are brutal. It's a meme. It's a meme war now. Did you see the McDonald's ones? Y'all, I posted a video earlier about literally like Trump, his actual Twitter. This wasn't a meme channel. This is his actual Twitter. He posted up saying that he's gonna make ice cream machines great again at the at McDonald's, and I laughed so hard. I just went through all the memes and all the pictures they were showing. Y'all, it was hilarious. I mean, that is like expert level trolling. I mean, like. And then they had what's his son's name? Barron. They had Barron in the back being like saying like, Dad, like if you tweet about the ice cream machines, it will get impressive, massive numbies. And I was like, this is insane. It's funny. If you haven't seen it, you have to go watch it. It's like the second video, there's like 2 videos back from the one that's up there right now. You guys want another poll? Okay. All right, let's do another poll. Come on, y'all. Let's do it. Y'all tell me what you want. Red is Trump, blue is Kamala. How is I forget. Hit it up, y'all. All right, let's keep going. This one's almost over, y'all. We're almost done here.
all know that humility is not Kamala's strong suit.
There are a whole lot of women.
Oh, hell. That is red.
Out here who, one, are not aspiring to be humble.
And as a shock to religious voters everywhere, the pro-abortion, pro-sex change candidate who told Christians at her rally that they're at the wrong rally.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No,
That part was crazy as hell, too.
I think you meant...
Somebody says Jesus is Lord and you tell them they shouldn't be there? That's a little crazy. Y'all hit that follow button, by the way. TikTok, hit the follow button if you're new here. YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Do all the things, y'all.
To go to the smaller one down the street.
Suddenly has a faith that is super important to her.
But I just called him. I needed that spiritual kind of connection. I needed that advice. I needed a prayer. And there's a part of the scripture that talks about Esther and a time such as this, and that's what we talked about, and it was very comforting for me. And
do you pray every day?
I do pray every day. I do pray every day, sometimes twice a day. I grew up. So we grew up a little neighborhood church in Oakland, 23rd Avenue Church of God, and I was raised to believe in a loving God, to believe that your faith is a verb. You live your faith, and that the way that one should do that is that your work and your life's work should be to think about how you can serve in a way that is uplifting other people.
That's great, thank you.
That is about caring for other people. And that guides a lot of how I think about my work and what is important.
I'm not a religious person, but what I can do is call bullshit. And that part in the
Damn, she said what I can do is call BS.
Bible that talks
Texas tip, Tara. Thank
talks
you.
about Esther. You mean the book of Esther? I know she's not a fan of cohesive sentences or brevity, but I think we could have gotten there if we had a little bit of knowledge. And you can see when she's lying, I think most perfectly, when she is asked whether or not she prays every day. No emotion in her face whatsoever. Eyes darted straight at Anderson Cooper. No look back for recollection. She just looks at him and says, I pray every day. Sometimes I pray twice a day. And that smile starts to creep on that she does when she's uncomfortable with something she's saying. And you should watch it for every single time she feels an ounce of discomfort. That smile and that giggle creeps out of her.
Oh, what the hell is that picture? Is that? Who's that? This is crazy.
And of course, it was a somewhat lengthy town hall. There are more clips out there. I do
Tara, thank you so much. We got it. Thank you.
urge you to go and watch them. But it seems like the response to this town hall, even from the left, is that Kamala Harris was a disaster. She does not know how to hold her own. She does not know how to answer questions. And she just tap dances around the issues. And it does make you wonder if this is the sort of coverage that we're getting from the left. And if they're willing to grill her on CNN, are they throwing Kamala under the bus because they know this is going to be a loss for them? Is something coming? Are we going to hear something about Kamala here?
I mean, it's pretty, I mean, it's like beyond like alarming. It's like Mayday, Mayday, Mayday when CNN is like going, no, this is horrible. That's like, I mean, that's in the world of the left, that is a huge issue
in the coming days that could end her campaign, because it seems like we are really revving up for the left to abandon her completely. But those are just
there's probably gonna be a third person all of a sudden.
You know, my theories. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm not typically in the game of making predictions, but something is not adding up right now. Let's listen to what CNN had to say about her town hall.
Republicans would take another hour of Kamala Harris. We'd just press play, let her keep going. We'd pay for another hour to let her keep not answering the questions. And Anderson's asking her, well, why haven't you done it? You've been there for 4 years. Why have you done any of this? And the word salad answer she gave to that was just mind-boggling. I mean, it's blown up the internet, her answer to that question. I think the things that are troubling for people were her responses to, Van said about what you're going to do to reduce costs when they asked her at the beginning. We're hurting economically. She said, I'm going to prosecute corporations, right? That's not going to lower costs. How are you going to make things better for me? I'm going to prosecute people. Trump bad is not a message that's going to get her elected. Trump bad message. I disagree with you.
Ooh, we're starting to see.
She hit us with the
yeah. The little quirks and kinks in everything that Kamala Harris is saying. And I, applaud CNN for platforming this Republican strategist to really lay that out and say that this is what's going on. Because so often you get this sort of coverage on the other end of Kamala Harris speaking, particularly from leftist media, where they pull maybe a few points where she sounds lucid and say this is a strong candidate and she can hold her own and she's certainly a better alternative to a Trump presidency. Is she though? And I'm saying this as somebody who used to absolutely hate Donald Trump. Is she though? And when you can't be honest with yourself about what you just saw, you tweet stuff like this. The Kamala Harris town hall was fine. She's more than capable. Vote against the fascists, for God's sake. The end.
Man, she didn't hit us with the dog in that burning house, but oh no. Y'all, right over to YouTube, the Mystery Project on YouTube, 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 30 seconds. Look at that meme. I'm telling y'all, the meme game is absurd.
But we all know the formula. When all else fails and your candidate can't hold her own, she's speaking in word salad, she's cackling uncontrollably, and she's leaning on the same 5 talking points she's leaned on in every single interview she's done leading up to this election. You just say, orange man bad. And guys, those are my thoughts on the Kamala Harris town hall. Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, if you disagree with anything I said in this video, duke it out, but do so respectfully in the comments. We encourage healthy debate.
We encourage healthy debate. That's true. Damn, y'all, that was crazy as hell. Y'all tell me what you think about that. But I'm out of here. YouTube, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, do all the things before you go. I love you guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow.